Bill Brady, Ecclesia Framework, taking you on a tour of Ecclesia Framework today. Purpose is to give you an idea of some of the resources that are available. First off, this is like a candy store. Ecclesia Framework is like a candy store. You go to the candy store and you look at it and you say, I want one of those, and I want one of those, and two of those. It's a matter of desire. This is not an academic learning location. It's not meant to be that. It's meant to be your desire causes you to look into something so that you can experience something that other folks have already experienced. So it's like a candy store. We're meant to be like a kid in a candy store, just delighted and going with what we want. I want one of those. I want one of those. What are some of the resources here at Ecclesia Framework? First off, we have web pages that are available. Again, these are meant to be something you look at as you desire to experience something. At growingpeopleframework.wordpress.com, you'll find pages. There's a beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And I want to draw your attention to the section that Jane has added of her encounters and her experiences. Testimony is something that allows us to use testimony as a gate and move into experiencing something that somebody else has experienced. We find testimonies in the scriptures. We find testimonies when people give a testimony online or verbally in a meeting or in person. And so the pages are essentially testimonies, a lot of them are. And Jane's journals here, her encounters and her experiences are in the Ecclesia Framework pages. You can actually follow along with what she's experienced, and anything that she has experienced, we can also experience as well. She's gone ahead and trailblazed for us and given us very transparent writing out of her examples. A journal of Heavenly Realms Experiences, Heavenly Realms Experiences Part 2 Encounters, Jane Johnson Part 3 Examples of Daily Mandates from Jane Johnson's Daily Diary, and My Journey of Living Out of the River of Life, Arcing as a Tree. So Jane has given us actually her diary here and examples of some of her daily mandates and things, in other words, things the Lord has told her to do on a daily basis and that she's gone and done in Heavenly Realms. So the pages, candies in a candy store, when your heart leads you to desire a certain experience, you can go and look it up to find out more about it so you can experience it. Or you can simply go through the pages and find things that you desire to experience. And Jane's diaries and listing of encounters here is a great place to find things that you might desire to experience yourself. There are also Facebook pages. Heavenly Realms Support Group is one of the Facebook pages, Facebook sites rather. At that location, you will find a listing of current ascensions and groups. Generally, the Zoom locations are in there as well. And also people post things there on a regular basis that you can interact with and can help you in your daily discipling. These resources are meant to be there for you to be discipled by the resources. So Facebook is there. Also, there is a testimony page that you can ask to be added onto, and there are testimonies there. Love to have your testimonies added into that. It's a private site, so you ask to be added into it, and then you can add testimonies there. The thing about testimonies, like I said before, testimony is a door, so somebody else can experience what you experienced if you share it with them. And also the thing about any of these things is when you give, you receive. We give out of love because we love our brothers and sisters, but the result is that we receive. And generally, we receive in the kind that we gave. So if we give revelation of a testimony, a testimony of an experience, then we are likely to reap more experiences that we can then give and reap more. It just can really start to accelerate. There are also quite a few different chat groups. And again, the idea of the chat groups is it is a daily discipling. I picture the chat groups as like a path, and the path starts at the beginning and goes further down the line, and there's groups of us at different places in the path in a chat group, and the people in that chat group are generally journeying along that path at pretty much the same place. They're journeying along as a group, as a group going along the path, and sharing experiences with one another, and other folks that have been further down the path also put input into those groups. So the chat groups can be like a path. You start out with the Scroll Mountain group, and there are a lot of folks there that are learning to find out their destiny and find out their mountains, and there's assistance on how to do that available there. You can ask questions and people can answer them. People share their experiences. That's a wonderful thing there. And there's Heavenly Realms discussion group, which is a very active group as well. A little further along the path, there's the Emerging Kings group, and this is for people that have begun to find their king mountains. This kind of goes along with the Lord to King section of the pages. Then after the Kings group, where you find your Lord mountains are your personal mountains, your mountain, your family mountain, your financial mountain, your job, ministry, ecclesia mountains, your personal mountains there. Then the King mountains are more ministry mountain. You might have a ministry mountain under your Lord mountains, but then ministry mountains mountains would change to more authority at higher levels, and that becomes a King mountain. And so kings would be emerging kings of people that are beginning to find their king mountains. And people, again, it's kind of a group that's at that stage of the journey. We're going along the journey together and sharing. A little further along the journey, folks move from kingship to sonship or to chancellorship or both. And so there's a chancellor's group for those who have been emerging kings and are now mature kings and are moving on into chancellor houses or chancellor judging positions, or are moving into sonship. Then there's a family facilitation, a fathering and facilitation group for those that are in that place as well. So there's a journey that goes along the path. We're all on this journey in one place or another. It starts off with your beginning experiences in heavenly realms and goes along further towards sonship. Discovery is another one of the chat groups that this one has an ascension associated with it. And discovery is going up into heavenly places and finding new things. It's being a discoverer in the sense of Christopher Columbus and the folks that did that during the age of discovery, but this is folks that are in heavenly realms doing discovery, and discovery is at the heart of Ecclesia Framework. Everything that's going on here is because somebody has gone out into heavenly places, gone up into heavenly places and discovered something and shared it with other folks. Jane has done a lot of that and shared it with us. I mentioned that. Others have before even Jane were people like Ian Clayton and so on. But for us, discovery is at the heart of what we do because we're always finding new things in heavenly realms and passing it along. So one of the other chat groups is a discovery chat group that has an ascension associated with it that goes up on a monthly basis, and folks meet to do discovery. A lot of us are doing discovery on our own as well. There's folks that are pioneers in the sense that they do this on their own completely by themselves and come back and tell other people about it. And then there's discovery where it's kind of a group thing, kind of like being on the ship with Christopher Columbus. And so there's that discovery at the heart of Ecclesia Framework, always new things being discovered and shared and going higher and higher into heavenly realms and finding more and more things and sharing them is at the heart of Ecclesia Framework. Now, because folks have gone before us, now we are able to go as well. It makes it much easier for us to follow behind them. Also, there are folks in heavenly realms in this discovery that are doing governmental acts in heavenly realms. So benches and so on that reign as a group and clear heavenly realms in a way that other folks can move into them. One of the things that Ecclesia Framework does a lot of, has an emphasis on, is making people aware of stumbling blocks. Stumbling blocks are things that can slow you down or even stop you from continuing on your journey. And so one of our mandates is to make folks aware of what the stumbling blocks are so that you don't get held up. And there's typical ones that pretty much folks are likely to run up against. And so we make people aware of those things. It's always good to be made aware of stumbling blocks so you don't have to stumble over them. And if you do get slowed down or come to a stop, ask for some help, because it's quite likely the rest of us have been there too at one point or another and overcome that. So you're going to find that because you're not aware of, there are governmental acts being done in heavenly realms that are clearing the way for you, and that's been happening over the years. And I say thank you for those folks that have gone before us and have done that. Kid in the candy store. We have other ascensions as well. Besides that, there is a true wineskin ascension. There are health group ascensions, actually more of a group at this point, but there have been health group ascensions in the past. That was kind of a discovery kind of thing. There is an accessing heaven ascension every Wednesday. There is a Monday arcing suns ascension every other week. And again, this information is found in the Heavenly Realms Support Group website about the different activities, the different ascensions that are going on. Each of us needs to set our heart on manifest sonship, pushing through, growing through all the stages of growth to the place of manifest sonship, walking in full authority. One of our other emphases is on ages, that there are higher and higher levels of governing, higher and higher ways of exercising our spiritual authority as a ruler. And so we have, at Ecclesia Framework, we have an emphasis on ages that I don't think I've seen a whole lot of elsewhere. And I would strongly encourage you to continue to seek to reach for the top shelf. In other words, just reach as high as you can. I'm thinking of the kid reaching up for the cookie jar on the top shelf. You want to set your heart on operating out of the highest possible age to continue to seek to move higher up in ages, because the further up in the ages that we go, the more authority we can exercise and the more we can get done and the faster we grow. Also very important, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we share testimonies to others so that others can come along the same path that we're going on, and so that we continue to move on our own. Another emphasis here at Ecclesia Framework is benching, which is exercising rulership as a group. Benches of 3 is typically the place where that begins, a group of 3 folks that have the same mountain, are ruling from the same mountain, and work together to exercise rulership as a bench of 3. And in that case, they're acting governmentally, not just ruling individually, they're acting governmentally as a group. We are seeing, having a sense that benches tend these days to be a little less permanent than they were at one time. A bench is formed around a mandate, a particular purpose that the folks all have in common. And so that mandate can be for a season, and folks can be involved with one bench for a season, and then that bench's mandate can be accomplished, and then people would move on to another bench with a different mandate, or people can actually come and go from a bench. We are, of course, expecting the harvest to come in larger numbers, and we are preparing for that harvest. And each person here in the Ecclesia Framework that is on the path and in the different chat groups, I would encourage you to think in terms of moving into leadership in one way or another, it's something that you need to simply get your courage up and start on the process. Facilitation is a person who is leading a chat group and facilitates that group by helping people to grow, or maybe facilitate an ascension or a meeting. That's something that you can grow into. There's all kinds of places for leadership benches or leadership. And the point being, there's going to be a lot of folks coming in at some point, and we are going to be the ones that are going to be meeting their needs when they do come in. So a tour of Ecclesia Framework, certainly not covering all the aspects of it, but kid in the candy store, moving away from learning academically. Our purpose is to learn so that we can immediately go and experience and share our experience with others so that they can experience the same thing that we've been experiencing.